Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to a brand new channel. I'm Uncle Pete, and this is Uncle Pete's Wall Street. This channel is going to be devoted to personal finance, and in particular, personal finance for young people, with some other topics thrown in from time to time. I've been waiting for the new year to upload my first video, and now January 2025 is finally here. Let me give you a brief bio on myself. I worked in the margin department for a major broker dealer for 22 years. If you don't know what a margin department does, don't worry. It's not important now, and it's a topic I will be covering in more detail in future videos. But let me give you a brief rundown of what it is. A margin department in a brokerage firm is a department that watches the money that the broker loans out to customers who want to borrow money to trade and invest. Borrowing money gives these clients leverage to possibly increase profits. A margin department also makes sure that the customers are following all the rules and regulations, and there are a ton of them that govern the use of credit in the financial markets. The rules and regs come mainly from the Securities and Exchange Commission and FINRA, which is the Financial Regulatory Authority. That's essentially it. But I'll get into more detail, like I said, about margin in a later video. And when I was laid off from my firm in 2019, I was 57 years old. And at that time, the brokerage firm I was working for had a $10 billion margin book. They were loaning out a total of $10 billion to their margin customers. I spent my entire career in margin, and it was tons of fun. And I've also spent the last 35 years investing in the stock market. I made a ton of mistakes in the market, but with mistakes comes wisdom. And I'm looking forward to passing that wisdom and knowledge on to you. And along with my experience in the financial markets, I think you'll begin to understand how all this works, why you need to be involved, and how you can benefit and watch your money grow over time. This is not going to be a channel where I tell you what stocks to buy or what investments to make. There's thousands of those gurus all over the internet. And besides, me telling you what to buy, that's not going to help you be self-sufficient and be an independent investor that you need to be. What I'm going to show you is where I put my money in the stock market over the last 35 years, why I've chosen those investments, and what those investments have returned in the way of profits. Once you have the knowledge, which I'm going to share with you, it will be up to you to decide where you want to put your money to secure your future. You can follow what I've done, or once you gain sufficient knowledge of the financial markets, you may decide on other investments. That's going to be totally up to you. But first, I want to tell you why I decided to start this channel. I have a friend, Frank, who lives on the Jersey Shore, and he's been encouraging me to start a channel on investing for the last few years. Shout out to Frank. I've resisted this endeavor because of the time I thought and the effort that was needed to devote to such a channel. But a few weeks ago, I walked into a local convenience store near my home and I saw something that was pretty damn scary. It was about 7 o'clock in the morning, and in the store were no less than 5 senior citizens working there. They were all in their mid to late 70s, and one looked like she was in her early 80s. She was very frail and was struggling to keep up with the other employees and the customers' demands. After seeing that, I had to ask myself, what happened to these 5 seniors that caused them to end up here? My first thought was that they needed the money. Why would anyone at their age want to work so hard so early in the morning? Now, it's possible they didn't need the money. Maybe they just wanted to be productive, get out and keep busy and be around people. That's possible. But what if the truth is they were working this hard just to survive and pay their bills, because Social Security was nowhere near enough money to support themselves. I had to ask myself, why didn't they save and invest their money during their peak working years? Maybe they did save their money. Maybe a tragic event or illness forced them to empty their savings. That's also possible. But what if none of those scenarios were true? What if they just never knew how or why to invest and save their money? And now, after decades of life, inflation had caught up to them, destroyed the value of their money, and devastated their finances. Another reason why I've decided to start this channel is there seems to be a lack of commitment by high schools and colleges to give students a proper education on investing. As far as I know, most high schools only teach a class on investing for one semester of all 4 years of high school. That's nowhere near enough education. Personal finance education, in my opinion, first of all, it's a vast topic, personal finance. There's a lot to go over. It's not just the stock market. But personal finance education, in my opinion, needs to be taught every semester of every year of a person's education. So, we have an older generation that doesn't seem to have invested for the future and are now forced to work very hard just to survive. And we have a younger generation who have not been properly educated on the benefits and necessity of investing. That, to me, is a recipe for a revolving door of financial disaster. And I got to do whatever I can to try and turn things around for as many people as possible, because I know not only the older people confused and scared of investing, but a lot of the young people, they haven't been taught anything about it, and they're confused and maybe scared too. All right, so that leads me to ask all of you young people out there two questions. Question number one. This is a very difficult question, by the way. Are you ready? Are you planning on living a long life? Dumb question, I know. Who isn't planning on living a long life? So write that down. Yes, Uncle Pete, I am planning to live a long life. Okay. If you're planning on living a long life, then I have to ask you question number two. What are you doing to guard against the ravages of inflation? Now, I know you're a young person. You don't care about inflation. That's something for old people. Oh, no, it's not. And maybe you don't know what inflation is, but I'm assuming after the last 4 years, 2020 to 2024, inflation was in the news every day. Even if you're a young person, you couldn't avoid it. So I'm assuming that after the last 4 years, 2020 to 2024, that everyone has felt the ravages of inflation, so that everyone knows what it is. But if you don't, simply put, inflation is the rise in prices of goods and services over time. Most of the time, inflation rises slowly over many years. But sometimes, like the last 4 years, prices increase quite a bit in a very short period of time. You people in your late 20s, early 30s, are you struggling to buy a house? Right now, we're in 2025. Last couple of years, have you been struggling? I bet that's inflation, and it's kicked up. Regardless, inflation is an evil bastard. Sometimes its negative effects are felt very quickly, but most times those negative effects aren't felt until you're too old to do anything about it, because you run out of the time necessary to grow your money to outpace inflation. So, if you're planning on living a long life, what are you doing to make sure that when you're older, your money has outpaced the ravages of inflation so you can have a normal lifestyle? What is your plan to have a future that saves you from ending up like the 5 seniors I mentioned earlier, forced to continue working when their bodies and their minds would rather be resting and enjoying an easier life? If your answer is you don't have a plan, and by the way, Uncle Pete, I don't even know what you're talking about, but I think I need to know what you're talking about, don't worry. This channel will be devoted to not only educate you on why you have to put your money to work to protect you from inflation, but also how to get started investing for the future. And I'm going to show you from the ground up as if you know nothing, step by step. But more importantly, I'm going to help you avoid the pitfalls and the mistakes that I made over the years, and also to recognize and cut through the nonsense that seems to have infected the world of investing. On the one hand, investing in the stock market has been made to look so complicated and confusing, with all these talking heads on TV and the internet engaged in second by second analysis of Wall Street and the economy. But also, on the internet, I see thousands of videos showing how easy it is to get rich by this time next Tuesday. You need to be extremely skeptical and think critically about what you've seen on the internet, because becoming wealthy through investing is a slog. It's a long process of prudent investing in boring stuff that can make you wealthy over a long period of time. Can someone strike it rich on one trade? Yeah. But how much of your hard-earned money do you have to risk? And what are the odds of achieving riches quickly? What this channel is going to teach you is simple, tried and true strategies where you can sleep at night and be assured that your money is working harder than you are. And by the way, if your money is not working harder than you have to fix that, because it's a great feeling to know that while you're sleeping, your money is working hard because you're invested in the world's greatest companies. Now, the first thing you must know is it's not how much you make and how much money you have to invest initially that can make you wealthy. A lot of people think that I don't make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year. Those are the people who get wealthy in the stock market. And I don't have $50,000 to invest up front. Most people think that only rich people can invest, even though I'm sure many of you have been told to participate in your 401k at work or start an IRA, an individual retirement account. All right? I know many people, smart people, who have great jobs that pay them a lot of money, lawyers, people in healthcare, but their finances are a train wreck. They don't save for the future. They're not invested in the stock market, and they are headed for disaster. The key is not how much money you make or how much you have initially to invest. Listen to me very carefully. The key to winning at the investment game is time. How long is your money at work? The longer it's at work, the less you have to put in every month. So if you're a young person, 18, 20, 19, 20, 21, 25, right? You have a long time to invest. So with that long time means you don't have to put a lot of money every month. Trust me, you can't afford not to do this. If you're saying, I can't afford to invest money in the stock market, you can't afford not to. And I promise you, if you stick with me, Uncle Pete, you will become one of the most informed, intelligent, rational, prudent, and patient investors so that you don't end up working in a convenience store when you're in your 70s. So if you want to learn more, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell because I got a lot more videos coming. I'm hoping to make the process of learning about investing in the stock market simple and fun. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of laughs. So I hope to see you in the next video.